Colorado's largest hospital by far, inside the convention center downtown. Denver's mayor pleads with hotel operators to help, as advocates for the homeless and some state legislators say they need the National Guard to prevent a crisis. One model predicting the path of the pandemic says that Colorado is through the worst of it, while the state's own experts insist that's not true. 100 local elections are happening across the state tomorrow. We'll look at the precautions being taken. And it's like a lemonade stand, but for grown-ups. From my home to yours, this is next.
The convention center in downtown Denver is being converted into a field hospital during the COVID-19 pandemic. Mayor Michael Hancock says the process has started with state and federal agencies in charge, turning the massive space into a 2,000-bed field hospital. It'll easily be the largest hospital in the state when it's completed later this month. Now, the mayor mentioned the conversation of the convention center is almost an aside in an open letter to the hotel and motel operators today, where the mayor begged them to help come up with 3,000 beds that could be used to house people who need to be isolated, including people who are homeless. The city tells Kyle more than 50 hotels were approached. 10 were a hard no. Another 10 said maybe, but didn't want people who are homeless staying there. Now, the mayor's letter pleads with hotel and motel owners to, quote, consider or reconsider your involvement in this humanitarian mission. So Kyle was curious about two hotels in particular, because the Convention Center Hyatt is on land owned by the city, but the city attorney's office says the agreement doesn't let them force the Hyatt to help, and the company declined. And then there's the DIA Westin at the city-owned airport. Again, Denver city attorneys say they can't make the Westin help out, and FAA regulations also come into play. Now, the advocates and elected leaders who fear that COVID-19 could sweep through Denver's homeless population, endangering lives and straining the system all over, straining the health system, now want the governor to call in the National Guard. Denver at-large City Councilman Robin Kinich held a call today to ask the governor to use the National Guard to staff a large new shelter for the homeless, perhaps at the National Western Complex. Now, she stressed that Denver is the only place in the state where thousands of people are using the same facilities and sleeping just a foot apart at night. She insists this is a state problem, and shelter operators say the choice is to kick half of the people staying there, or to allow for social distancing, or keep people in cramped conditions that encourage the spread of the virus.
While the shelters may be located in Denver, the residents that we help to keep warm and safe come from all the communities in the metro area and all the communities of the state. This is a state challenge. It requires a level of resources beyond what we as a city can do alone.
It is not lost on me that every day I send men and women, our staff, into the fire of no social distancing with no PPE to try to take care of the most vulnerable population in our city.
Now, the city of Denver made it official today, what the mayor said to Kyle last week, that the stay-at-home order will be extended through the end of the month. Enforcement, though, has been light. 1,800 warnings and only 14 citations. The governor could extend the statewide stay-at-home order tonight. We will talk about that in just a moment. First, to the latest numbers. Colorado has 150 known deaths from COVID-19 and nearly 1,000 hospitalizations. That's a cumulative number. We've been asking, but so far the state has not said how many people got out of the hospital and have recovered. Colorado has more than 5,100 known cases after testing almost 27,000 people. A much talked about national model that predicts the spread of COVID-19 put out new numbers overnight, making the situation in Colorado look a lot more realistic, saying that we've actually passed the peak in some cases. Now, state epidemiologists do not buy that, and they told me today they don't agree with that model.
We've seen revisions quite substantially down in Colorado.
Dr. Chris Murray is the voice of optimism. His team, modeling the COVID-19 pandemic at the University of Washington's Institute of Health Metrics and Evaluations, IHME, they found Colorado may already be past the peak.
Ours were the first to say, no, we actually think that social distancing can and is working. Now that seems to be confirmed.
The model suggests a total of about 300 deaths in Colorado, topping out by the end of April. That is with continued focus on all of us staying separated. A positive development that the state isn't ready to confirm just yet.
It is still too soon for us to know that precisely.
State epidemiologist Dr. Rachel Herlihy says while state health leaders will certainly consider this model, they don't trust it completely.
The IHME model was really built off of assumptions from Wuhan, China, and we feel that those assumptions are really probably not the same as the assumptions that we're seeing here in Colorado.
For now, they are sticking with the local model created by researchers at CU.
It's using assumptions that we believe to be true for Colorado. It's using Colorado data.
State health officials haven't revealed full modeling data to the public, but Dr. Herlihy says what they are looking at doesn't show a clear peak yet, as they are still awaiting data on how effective our stay-at-home order was. But she says it could come anywhere from May to summer. Now, one thing is clear. Any model you look at, we're going to be in this situation for a while. That IHME model assumes that all of the social distancing measures that have been put in place remain that way until the end of May. Should some of the orders be lifted, the professor behind that model says we could return to where we are in a matter of weeks. Well, Republicans at the state capitol are accusing the governor of hiding information from Coloradans. The House GOP sent a letter to Democratic Governor Jared Polis saying that the governor's office hasn't been sharing projections from the state health department. House Minority Leader Patrick Neville, who previously said that stay-at-home orders led to a Gestapo-like mentality, says he wants the governor to provide a specific plan with metrics and details about the virus spread. Now, Governor Polis will deliver a televised address to Colorado immediately following Next Tonight, right here on 9 News at 6:30. He said extending the stay-at-home order to the end of the month is probably pretty likely. It wouldn't be surprising if he does that tonight. Former governors Dick Lamb and Bill Owens tell us they cannot recall at any point in Colorado's history when a governor gave a statewide television address. Kyle combed through old newspapers, could only find references to statewide radio addresses back in the 1930s. Now, again, the governor speaks directly to Coloradans tonight at 6:30. Then you get to speak directly to him by sending video questions for our live statewide town hall with Governor Polis tomorrow at 7 p.m. on 9 News. Record your video anytime. You can record your question. Go to 9news.com/townhall to upload that video. Your questions about Colorado's COVID-19 outbreak directly to the governor. 9news.com/townhall again to send in your questions. Now, getting more medical personnel into the fight in this is key, from adding retired doctors and nurses to graduating others early. Here's what our Anusha Roy found.
The problems first started filtering in from rural Colorado.
And they'd say, if you don't have your own PPE, you can't stay because we don't have enough.
Then started spreading.
Now it doesn't even matter because they're turning away all students from clinical placements largely across the board.
Ingrid Johnson with the Colorado Center for Nursing Excellence says clinical rotations are mandatory for graduation. But a shortage of personal protective equipment and overburdened health systems means a lot of those rotations are being canceled.
Right, they're trying to protect the students.
This could stall thousands of new nurses from joining the workforce between now and August.
Education is always a priority within our hospital partners. However, right now they've got other priorities.
That's why the University of Colorado College of Nursing is just one of many, asking the state for a 1-year waiver so students can do more virtual simulation clinical work and still meet their graduation requirements.
And it's almost like a gaming system. It's a avatar based. There's a clinical case. The patient is there experiencing symptoms.
Based on a 2017 study, right now the state allows students to do half this kind of work virtually and still be confident they're getting quality training in a state where some areas have enough nurses and other areas, like parts of rural Colorado, don't.
We're on top of a nursing shortage anyway, and our healthcare systems are going to be stretched following this COVID-19 crisis.
Not every school has access to virtual simulations, and it's not the perfect kind of training for every situation.
The job of the Board of Nursing is to keep our citizenry safe. And so nobody's asking for them to take away expectations of quality. We're just looking at maybe innovating and doing it differently.
For Next, I'm Anusha Roy.
So we are told that the state has completed its analysis for a waiver. It's expected to announce its decision soon, though we haven't been given a specific timeline.
Even if democracy is immune from coronavirus, voters and election workers sure aren't. There are 100 cities and towns in Colorado preparing for elections tomorrow. A nice cool glass of lemonade sounds nice. It's not for you kids, grown-ups only. Next.
An Aurora police officer has been fired for drinking and driving. Not the one you're thinking of, a different one. The officer who was found passed out drunk behind the wheel on duty was protected by the fact that fellow officers didn't treat it as a DUI case. Officer Jared Dozier was fired today. He's accused of being drunk when he crashed his car off duty in Colorado Springs last month. And I apologize because I know I'm supposed to toss to Marshall. This is the fun part about working at home right now, trying to get in touch with Kyle, but we're having an issue. So here I am. Marshall, I understand you are there. How are you, sir?
I'm all right, Steve. How are you? Thanks for tossing it to me.
Well, I am going solely off this, and I currently do not have anything for you. So why don't you tell us about what you're about to tell us about?
So what's going on, Steve, is there's a lot that we know is not immune to coronavirus, but something that is elections. There are elections happening tomorrow in about 100 cities, and today I found out what's being done to make sure that the votes can happen and the people who count the votes to make sure they're safe. Ballot boxes are open.
Even in this case, there was no authority for the governor to postpone them.
Kevin Baumer, executive director of the Colorado Municipal League, helped craft the guidance given to the 100 cities and towns holding elections tomorrow.
We're keeping a list of things, as we have done after a lot of disasters, where you find out, hey, maybe that's something we should think about in case this, God forbid, ever happens again.
Voters in a dozen areas will decide tax and bonding issues for local improvements to roads, buildings, or water and sewer operations. A half dozen areas will vote on allowing marijuana sales. Platteville is a town that has a vote on both taxes and marijuana. Was there ever a discussion about postponing tomorrow's election?
No.
Mary Lee is the Platteville clerk, who's practicing social distancing in this interview.
Well, I've talked through windows before, but not to a guy with a mask.
The same social distancing her election workers will practice tomorrow when counting the votes.
They'll have masks and gloves, and there won't be anyone else, as you can see, allowed in the building other than those of us that work here on a daily basis.
Our election judges are wearing personal protective equipment, including gloves and masks, have hand sanitizer, disinfectant wipes.
The city of Evans will also vote on a tax increase to improve roads. The same roads you can use to drive up and drop off your ballot.
We will have a table outside to accept ballots and to issue replacement ballots.
For those of you worried about the letter of the stay-at-home order, it is okay for you to leave your home to turn in your ballot. One question that could come up, though, with all these taxing issues at the same time where people may be temporarily laid off or have just lost their job, will that dictate how a vote that would have gone one way, will it now go another way because maybe people are more conservative with their money in how they vote, Steve?
Boy, Marshall, I'm so glad you explained all that, especially what your story was. It was, this is a fun one. I haven't had this happen before, but, you know. By the way, I can't see you right now, but I assume you have that nice shelf in the background that we see.
Yeah, I wonder if we're working from the same home studio right now.
Yeah, maybe. Who knows? All right, Marshall, thanks.
A lemonade stand. If you're thinking, whoa, how is that safe right now? Don't worry, folks, it's beer. Social distancing. We're all learning as we go. Lessons on what to do, and dudes, don't. Next.
It is time for another edition of That Is Not How You Socially Distance, Colorado. So we love to see people outside, but how about a little space, folks? Fresh air is a must. But you all are drinking each other's respiratory droplets. This was at Mestizo Curtis Park in Denver. Now, plenty of people get how this is supposed to work, like these guys entertaining the neighborhood with a front lawn concert near City Park, distancing between bandmates and also the crowd, thanks to Zana for emailing that video. Or this from the Sunnyside neighborhood, a couple playing socially distant concert from another couple. Apparently, these musicians are conducting patio concerts for their neighborhood just about every evening. How cool is that? So let's see the best and the worst social distancing you can find. Email it to us next at 9news.com or get our attention with the hashtag HeyNext.
I'm Kathy Sabin. What a great way to kick off the week. We are sandwiched in between two high cloud bands and with southwest winds, temperatures this afternoon in the 70s. We're going to do it all over again tomorrow, but there's a storm off to the west of us that's going to change things for us for Thursday, Friday, and maybe even the weekend. Some rain and snow coming in as we round out the week. Calm and quiet tonight, partly cloudy and 41. Back to the 70s we go tomorrow. Hey, Wednesday looks pretty good too. Thursday, chance for a few rain showers. The same Friday. It might be cold enough to see that rain mixed with snow over the weekend. Easter Sunday, mid-40s with a chance for more light snow coming in on Monday. We'll have much more on the changing planning forecast again later on tonight on the networks of 9 News.
Kathy, thank you. You've been sharing the signs of hope popping up in your community, whether it's the Castle Rock star lit up or the cross lit up above Glenwood Springs. A few of you wrote in to say the star on Namaqua Hill in Loveland, I hope I'm pronouncing that right, is also lit up these days. That's usually a holiday thing, but it's been lit in times of national crisis before, and people in charge of the star tell us it will shine over Loveland until the pandemic passes. Hey, may I make a recommendation, point you towards something that didn't come from us, but is totally worth your time. This is a no-brainer, but research backs up what we saw in Colorado. It was a financial luxury to abide by the stay-at-home order. The New York Times analyzed publicly available cell phone data looking at wealthy zip codes and low-income zip codes. The reporters found that people who make more money had the flexibility to hang close to home before others did. It was a 4-day difference in Denver. There's a link to the Times article on the next Facebook page. Well, Colorado is getting creative. Lemonade stands for adults and the governor's live address to the state. All of that is next. I wonder if there are things that we do during the stay-at-home order that we'll keep doing afterwards, which may or may not be an observation about Joyride Brewery selling to-go beer through a makeshift lemonade stand in its garage door. Westside Tavern also has a new to-go window. 5 cents is a pretty good deal for psychiatric help and probably a smarter decision than another drink right now. Speaking of alcohol, apparently Nicholas wrote in and said, Steve, you have a lot of bottles of alcohol behind you. I guess I do. I don't know what a lot is quantified as. And someone wrote in via text, said, did you guys get the identical shelving units as a company Christmas gift? Would want me to say that we've had it for a long time. Governor is next. Stay tuned.